great.
Okay, you want clicks. All right, sounds good. All right, everybody. This is the first round of the student representative elections. Before we begin with the candidates and the questions, we'd like to acknowledge that we are resident in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral territory of the Mi'kmaq people since time immemorial. And with that, we are going to get in. If Rebecca, you'd like to start us off?
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to ask each candidate 2 questions. The first one will be just about introducing yourself and why you're running. There's not really strict time limit, maybe 2 minutes for an answer for each question. And if you are starting to go over that time, we're just going to give a little thumbs up in the corner of our screen so you know to sum things up, but no pressure on the time restriction. So we're going to start our first question with our arts representative, Jack. So thanks for being here, Jack. Can you please introduce yourself and also state why you want to run for this position?
For sure. Thanks for having me. So I'm Jack Harding. I'm a second-year student here at St. FX, and I'm taking public policy and governance. I grew up in Lethbridge, Alberta, but I'm loving Antigonish so far. For running for this position, I'm really interested in doing this for a few reasons. I've always been interested in advocacy, and I think this is a great way that I can act as a strong voice within the student union for fellow arts students, anyone pursuing a BA, and even just as an outlet on campus for anybody to bring key issues that they're personally struggling with, or whether it's academic or anything that I can bring forward to the people that can make changes that they need to see. So key goals that I want to bring forward include mental health advocacy. I think is huge, and I want to be able to be there for my fellow students and anybody that needs me in that role. I want to advocate for environmental sustainability in the student union and accountability from the university when it comes to the climate crisis, and just being able to act in this role as an outlet. Whether that's academic issues that you personally need, I'm going to be here for you, and that's why I want to run to be the art rep. Thank you.
Awesome, thanks, Jack. Cole, you can go ahead.
Alrighty, excellent. So similar sort of strain of questioning for our international rep candidate, Francisco. So again, could you please introduce yourself, and why do you want to run for this position?
Well, hello everyone. My name is Francisco Chang. I'm 19 years old and I come from Ecuador. I'm running for international student representative, but I'm also enrolled in the arts program. So actually, I'm enrolled as an honors in economics student. I'm also a second year student, but it's fun because it's like my first semester here. I've never been in university before, but I was part of the IB program, so I had like credits. So yeah, since I was a kid, I've had a personality that most people could relate to. During my high school career, I was a radio host, and that experience allowed me to build this sense of curiosity, not only in people but in their behavior. So yeah, I've always tried to learn about people, to learn about my community, and at the same time try to help. So I think that this position is something that will allow me to have a positive impact here. And I know how difficult it can be to international students to adapt at the beginning. So helping them and trying to grow as a whole, I think it's the best thing of trying to run for this position.
Awesome, thank you. So we'll now get to our second question for our candidates. And unfortunately, I was going to ask, we only have 2 questions for you guys, but you'll have an opportunity to sum up your thoughts and your platform after these 2 questions. So for Jack, what do you think is the most pressing academic barrier you would bring forward to the Senate on behalf of the arts students?
For sure. When it comes to a pressing barrier that every single arts student comes up against, and is going to personally impact them, I have to say that that is mental health, whether that's the issues and challenges that personally are facing, or it's stigma around seeking help. I want to be an outlet to advocate for any kind of mental health needs that all students on campus are facing, and whether that's making more accessible services or increasing counseling service. I'm completely open to use this role as an advocate to help end that stigma and hear what you need personally as students, because that'll become my top priority to help find a solution to this problem that isn't going anywhere. And I'm happy. That's my goal, is to be able to help with that.
Awesome. Thank you, Jack. And Cole, yeah.
All right, perfect. And back, another question for Francisco, our international rep candidate. How do you plan on fostering an international student community? And how would you see yourself addressing the unique needs of that community?
Okay, well, I know for sure that every community has needs and wants. Like I, as a Latino, can have one of my own, but they're not the same as an international student from China, from Jamaica, from India. First, like I'm just like giving some examples, and I think that complex problems should be tackled with like shared understanding, and the best way of like accomplishing this is by listening to people. So I'm someone who's always willing to hear what different international students think and what they consider like as problems in university. So I'm always willing to work together towards solutions. And as I said before, everyone has different needs and they adapt differently to this like new environment. So identifying problems together, trying to tackle them together, creating solutions, and like making the overall stay of the international students here more enjoyable. I think that's the best way of like addressing unique needs.
Awesome, thank you. So those are the two questions we have prepared for our candidates. But now we want to give the opportunity for both of you to kind of sum up any platform ideas or things you're running your candidacy on. And then you can sign off after we say goodbye. And these are your closing statements, if you want to consider it that. So Jack, you can go ahead. You can take as much time as you want. We're not, like I said before, we're not on a strict limit. So you can go ahead whenever you're ready.
Perfect, thank you. I understand that there are a ton of art students here at St. FX across various disciplines, and with different needs and issues that they're facing. And as a single person, I don't think anybody's gonna be able to handle that, but that's why I want to be as accessible and open of an outlet as possible to be able to hear those needs and act as that individual that anyone across campus can come to and let me know, because I am excited to be able to work with the Student Union and the St. FX Senate and the people who can really create change on campus to make it a more inclusive, sustainable, and safe place for all students here. So thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Jack. And Francisco, you can go ahead and say your closing statements.
I'm someone, as I said before, that is always willing to hear. I don't like being online because like I prefer like being close to someone and see like how they act as we talk. But as I said, I'm always willing to hear. I'm always willing to learn, not only about different communities but different like people and their behavior. So I don't know how much people is going to watch this, but I'll be posting in my socials during the week, like different things I'm trying to pursue as a candidate for the international student representative. So I think I can leave you guys that on the comments so you can like share it. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And as returning officers, we can share both your socials throughout our posts as well throughout the week, so we can get voters out to reach out to you folks. So if that's all from our candidates, we'll say goodbye to sign off. But we do have our science representative and graduate representative debate at 6 o'clock. So you guys can have a break. And then if you're watching and want to watch your grad and science reps, come back in half an hour at 6 and
Stick
we'll be
around.
here. Thank you, candidates. Have a good night. Bye. 1 minute. My timer. All right. So welcome back to the representative election debate. We just finished, as you know, our education, international, and art student representative debate, and now we're on to the science and grad student debate. So welcome. So how this is going to work is we don't have strict time restrictions, but we asked candidates to limit their responses to our 2 questions by around 2 minutes. If you do start getting a bit over, I'll give a little thumbs up in the corner of our screen so you know it's time to wrap it up. And the first question, it's same for all 3 candidates here. Meredith, if you want to start us off as our science representative candidate, please introduce yourself and why you want to run for this position.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Meredith Cudmore-Keating, and I am in my 4th year in as a math major, and I'm from Barrie, Ontario. Also, sorry, I'm joining from my phone. My laptop is broken, so I'm just struggling with what I have right now. And I want to run for science rep because Senate is a body that makes a lot of really important and impactful decisions for students. So I think that the advocacy there that students do is really important. And I have a lot of experience sitting on Senate this year because I sat on it in my role as VP Academic. So I think that I bring a really good perspective of like understanding how Senate works and kind of knowing what avenues are good to bring things forward. And I think that there are also a lot of student issues that faculty and administrators won't necessarily see or understand unless students speak up about them at Senate. So I feel like it's really important to have students that are really engaged and willing to talk about their peers' experiences at Senate.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary. All right, now on to our 2 graduate representative candidates. Mackenzie, if you want to start with the same question, please introduce yourself and why you want to run for this position.
Alrighty. Hi, everyone. My name is Mackenzie Lavernois. I'm currently finishing up my 4th year in a Bachelor of Chemistry degree, and next year I'll be coming back to X to do a Master's in Earth Science. I'm really interested in running for this position as I sit on council now as science representative, and similar to Meredith's position, I've also sat on Senate for the past year. And I think it's really important to have a bit of continuity with Senate, especially since we're seeing a big change in the administration and the university, a lot of turnover. And I know we're also going through a lot of transitions with the university and the Students' Union. So I really enjoyed my past year sitting on council and on Senate, and I'd really just like to continue on with it. And I'm also just beyond excited to join the graduate student cohort and just, live life as a grad student at X and be able to bring their issues to council and Senate as well.
Thank you, Mackenzie. And Julia, it's not your turn, so please introduce yourself and why you want to run for your position, for the position of graduate student representative.
Perfect. So my name is Julia Smith. I am originally from Truro, Nova Scotia. I've lived in Antigonish for the last 4 years. I did my undergrad here in a Bachelor of Science, the chemistry major. I played on the women's team when I was here, and now I am in my 1st year of my master's in chemistry with Dr. Janice Hapley. I'm running for this position just because I've never been involved with anything with student union, so I'm like super interested to learn and all about that stuff. But I also just feel like with the graduate student community, there's kind of been like a disconnect with the rest of the university, and I kind of feel like we should like close in that gap and like get to know people more. So being a previous St. FX student, I was very familiar with how things work around here. So my transition to master's student life was relatively easy. Whereas I know a lot of my fellow graduate students come from all over the world and are not familiar with Antigonish at all. So I think it's important that we like kind of have that connection with each other. And that's pretty much why I'm running for the position. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Julia. Sarah's going to go on and ask our candidates the next questions.
All right.
You can go ahead.
All right, great. So Meredith, we're going to be starting off with you for your first question. Your second question. What is the most pressing academic barrier you would bring forward to Senate on behalf of science students?
Well, I think that it's really hard to pick just one because students experience a really wide range of challenges and like no student faces the same challenges academically or otherwise. But one like big challenge that I've noticed is that there's not a lot of supports for students who need academic accommodations when the supports they need kind of fall outside of like what you get for a traditional learning disability. So the Trample Center is really great and offers a lot of supports for students who have something like officially diagnosed, but there's like mental health problems don't necessarily fall under that umbrella, or even like physical accessibility doesn't fall under that umbrella. And students are kind of forced to rely on their professors to like work with them and kind of get them the accommodations they need, which isn't always guaranteed, and then makes extra work for a professor as well. So I think that that's a real barrier and like gap that exists on our campus.
Thank you, Meredith. All right, and this time we'll be starting off with Julia. So Julia, as the grad program has a smaller and more removed population from the rest of the St. FX undergrad community, how do you plan on effective communication with your constituents and bring their unique needs to council?
So I thought about this a lot, and I have a lot of friends in the education program, which is another small program here. And I think they are an inspiration because of the number of things that they schedule and do together and how tight knit they are. So I think as graduate students, we really don't have this at St. FX. So I think one of the most important things would be getting to know each other more at the start of the year. As a first year master's student, I actually only have met all the other graduate students once, which is quite sad. So right at the start of the year, like organizing more get to know each other events, and then continuing these conversations, planning social activities through the use of social media. I think Facebook groups and Instagram pages are huge, especially because our graduate community is unique in the sense that not everyone does all their research at St. FX. We have a lot of students that do remote learning. So social media would greatly assist with this. Regular emailing out the minutes so everyone's on the same page, engage with what's going on at X. I just think through more personal conversations, people are more likely to bring forth their issues and talk to you more as like a friend rather than someone who's just like representing the graduate class. If you have that like more dynamic that you're a friend, they're more easily able to open up, and then you can discuss, oh, we're going to do this, I can look into that, and then I can bring the issues forth to Student Union Council.
All right, thank you, Julia. And Mackenzie, your last question. As the grad program has a smaller and more removed population from the rest of the St. FX undergrad community, how do you plan on effective communication with your constituents and bringing their unique needs to council?
Awesome, thank you. So just a bit of background on the grad work that I'm going to be going into. Right now, the project I'm going into has approximately 15 graduate students, both master's and PhD candidates. And there's actually a really diverse group of international students, master's, PhD, and also students who work satellite. So they either work in Halifax, or they actually are students at MUN, but are being supervised here by a professor at St. FX. So even within the collective group of grad students, I'm going to be working with an even smaller group that's kind of a bit of a microcosm of all our grad students here at St. FX. So I think a big thing about getting the needs and effective communication would be a lot of informal consultation. I've learned through the past year that informal consultation, so just getting to know people who are in similar programs or similar situations, and really just getting to know them so that when something does come up, they're comfortable talking to you about it. And it's not just an awkward barrier between coming up to a friend versus coming up to your representative. I'd also be interested in sort of taking a lead as a social development or social scene development with the grad students as well. I think having a Facebook page with all the graduate students and having faculty supervisors kind of support that all of their grad students join it, so that we could have everyone together in one page. We could host events. We could also share valuable information, and really just try to make it more of a stronger, cohesive community, and through there also be able to engage in more consultation.
Awesome. Thank you, Mackenzie. So those are the only questions we had prepared for you folks, but we want to give you three an opportunity to kind of sum up your platform and how you're running your candidacy, so we can consider these your closing statements. Meredith, if you want to start your closing statement, and once we're done our three, we'll sign off and call it a night. So go ahead, Mer.
Thanks, Rebecca. I guess generally I've always been like a super engaged student at St. FX, and that's because I really appreciate the community that we've all been a part of. From my second year, I was the vice president of my house in residence, and I really loved being engaged in that way, and being able to interact with my peers and like just play a part in welcoming first year students to St. FX. And I think that has played out, that same theme has played out for me in my third and fourth year as well. This year as Vice President Academic, I've done a lot of work with open educational resources advocacy, and that is because I think the affordability and accessibility of education is really important to me, and I'd like to continue doing that work next year on Senate. And I think I have a lot of experience sitting on Senate as well as council, and I'm really passionate about the Students' Union and making it the best organization it can be to serve students. So that is why I'd like to run for science rep. And that's everything.
Thanks, Meredith. Mackenzie, you can give your closing statement, and then we'll end off with Julia.
Alrighty, so I guess just an overview of why I'd really love to be grad rep. I think starting from my undergrad years at St. FX, you get really kind of rolled into what the undergrad experience is at St. FX, but there's more to it than that. And I think I'm really excited to kind of jump right into the graduate experience, and then be able to help everyone who's in my constituency. And I also I have loved sitting on Senate for the past year, getting to know the administration and faculty. And I feel like we've started to make headway in getting to know them and having a bit of mutual respect. And I just like to continue to see that grow and be able to bring forth new ideas and be able to be a comfortable student senator again.
Thank you, Mackenzie. And Julia, you're finishing us off.
Perfect. Thank you. So I'm in my first year of my master's program. So I think this year, it just it wasn't great not having a representative to kind of tie us all together. And if there was issues, there was no one really to go to. So that's what really made me want to get into it and be that person for it. Being on the hockey team and many other leadership groups here at X during my undergrad, I was able to really experience the best St. FX has to offer. And I really want everyone to be able to take advantage of that. University, whether you're doing your undergrad or your graduate program, there's so much more than just studying and doing work. And I think St. FX and Antigonish itself is just a unique spot, and I want everyone to love it as much as I do. So thank you so much for your time and for listening to me. I just really love Antigonish and St. FX, and I want to share that with the other graduate students that were not as lucky to pick the best undergrad school around. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Julia and Mackenzie and Meredith. These were awesome. You guys did amazing. And we're done nice and early. So I just wanted to do one more reminder for everybody that's out there that voting starts on March 22nd at 12:01 a.m. and it closes on March 23rd at 4 p.m. So make sure that you vote and get your voice heard. Yeah, vote. Yeah. All right. Bye,
Thank
guys.
you, everyone. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.